So alright everybody, nice to have you guys here. This is on the Play TV Nixon and today we are playing some more Magic Arena together, best of 3 in Historic. New cards, new styles, new decks, pretty decent stuff. I was told, or like people told me in the comments to revisit, or I promised to revisit my Glorybringer build, my Izzet midrange build. So I did that and I adjusted some cards. I'm not gonna play it today because I think it was lacking a little bit power. It was way stronger in the old meta than in the new one. Just test it, let me know what you think. I reworked it, memory lapses in there. I will cover these cards in the deck that we are gonna play today. So like, I'm gonna link this deck list in the description, so check it out. If you have the cards downloaded and play tested, let me know what you think. It's still my pet deck and I hope it can shine again if the meta changes and shifts a little bit. If you have more creature decks, for example, out there. But I came up with another approach which I was trying to make work back in the days, which is Izzet Superfriends. So I'm not moving away from Izzet midrange, I'm just going a little bit on a different approach, which is this one. I had pretty decent success with this, like really impressed me. Yeah, Brainstorm, let's go over the deck real quick, is so fucking strong, dude. Brainstorm is so insane. And we're playing 4 Fabled Passages with the Brainstorm alongside 2 Field of Ruins, which could be too many. Maybe you want to go down to 1 copy. Also, like basically all the cards in the deck synergize with the Brainstorm, or like a lot of the cards synergize with it. Search for Counter, for example. Narset, part of Ways as a 4-off is awesome with the Brainstorm also, because you can put 2 lands back on top and then you minus the Narset and you take a non-creature spell. Or the 2 cards that you don't want are getting shuffled back or like put on the bottom of your library, so you don't have to draw them again. Chandra Torch Defiance can exile the top card of your library. Behold the Multiverse can scry them away. Ral Izzet Viceroy, plus you look at the top 2 cards of your library, so if you Brainstorm end of turn and you put 2 cards back on top, you just draw 1, and the other card that you don't want you can just put into your graveyard with the Ral, for example. So this is a Super Friends build. It's all about planeswalkers and control. It's like a mid-range control approach. And memory lapse, boy, is that a card, man. Holy fuck, like this was a little bit of a sleeper, honestly, because like in the pre-Strixhaven discussion, like people, it was all about Brainstorm and Faithless Looting. I didn't really read, like maybe you saw that, but like I didn't really see people discussing memory lapse because it seems kind of strange, and like psychologically, like if you counter a spell, you want it gone. And you'd be like, yeah, it comes back on top of the library, so they're gonna redraw it. Yes, this happens, but that's also an upside, because if they screwed on lands, for example, you can really lock them out with a memory lapse. You counted a 3-drop, you put it back on top of the library. They're gonna redraw it again. Yeah, I was still underestimating it, and then I saw Gabriel Nassif playing a 4-off in his first Esper list. And I was like, okay, there must be something about it, right? And then I got the first game where I played against it and I got absolutely locked out of the game as well. And Search for Counter already talked about. Great card advantage alongside the possibility to more or less scry. Even better maybe to put it in the graveyard also. 2 copies of a Braid for early interaction with artifacts or creatures. Shatterskull Smashing, a 3-off. Like I went up in the count of Shatterskull Smashing because it's a fetchable land with a Narset. So Narset not only does fetch a great planeswalker, but also if you're short on lands, you can fetch a red source, which is great. There's also the blue spell land, but it's like, I just don't like the effect. And so I went down on the count of red sources in the deck and up the count of Shatterskull Smashing just to have a fetchable red source. Also, the spell is pretty great. Usually you want to counter their planeswalkers, but sometimes they resolve a planeswalker and then you need a way to deal with it on the board, because your planeswalkers don't really do that. Only Sarkhan does it. Smashing is just a fine card and also fetchable land. Narset, part of Wales. The card advantage, like the worst case scenario is you play a 3-drop, you draw a card from the top 4, so you minus, you see the top 4 cards, you take the best card you want, maybe Anger of the Gods against the creature deck, and then they kill it, so it's 3 mana, look at the top 4 cards, gain 3 life on sorcery speed. That's the worst thing that can happen, right? So that's a low floor, and that's like a high floor more. High floor and ceiling is insane, obviously, because opponent can't draw cards anymore, more than 1. Pretty disgusting stuff. Anger of the Gods, we of course need some board wipes in a Planeswalker strategy. Ionize, only 3 copies now, not 4 anymore. Maybe you can up the count, but we already have 4 copies of Memory Lapse, so this makes it 7 counter spells in general. And also, if we play against a deck that requires a lot of counter magic, we have a bit more in the sideboard as well. The 2 damage of Ionize really add up. You're chopping down like little chunks of damage on the life total, and maybe 12 is a magic number where you want to put them to 12, because then Sarkhan with 2 other planeswalkers is lethal on the attack. If you have them down to 8, Narset and Chandra on the board, you jam Sarkhan, and you can immediately win the game. One card I want to talk about, which I did not include like in the end, is Prismari Command. And I had it in the deck, and it worked good. It's pretty cool. Like, I love this card design, like where you get to choose 2. So versatile. What a cool card and what a cool spell. The 2 damage though is not enough. Like, if it was 3 damage, it would be way better, because there are a lot of Arcanist decks obviously out there. So we have so many good 1-mana spells now that Arcanist is a real threat, and I decided to move away from the Prismari Command because of that reason. We're playing 2 copies of Behold the Multiverse, which is a great way to recover from discard spells from your opponent, also from mulligans if you have to. 3 copies of Chandra, Torture Defiance. I think this card is like, I included in like basically all the decks that I showcased. Like, most of them have a Chandra, Torture Defiance. All you need on the Planeswalker. Okay, so Ral Izzet Viceroy. I have no idea how to pronounce this card, but it's great. Finally I can include it in a deck. I'm pretty glad. I just like everything about this card. It's so nice. Like, this is the impersonation of Izzet, if impersonation is a word, because it's this like really focused dude with all the lightnings and stuff, blue focus and also red emotions and red lightnings. Really the Izzet boss, alongside Niv Mizzet, but for me that's the real dude, man. Ral Izzet Viceroy is great. And so to the effects, of course, like I already said, like with Brainstorm, it's a good effect, the +1. The -3 it works out pretty good. Like, usually the games go a little bit longer with this deck, and you're gonna have a decent amount of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. That's why we play only a 1-off. Like, if you have it in your opening hand, by turn 5, you're gonna have maybe 2 or 3. So the downtick is not that great. At this time, Chandra has a better downtick than Ral. But later in the game, if you have to answer a 6 or 7 toughness creature, Ral can easily do that. So and the uptick is obviously great card advantage. And you ult this so quickly, man. Like, you can ult this card really quickly in my experience. The ult is obviously win the game, more or less. Okay, so Sarkhan the Masterless. Whenever a creature attacks you or a planeswalker you control, each dragon you control deals 1 damage to that creature. Yesterday I played against an Improbable Alliance deck, and the opponent forgot to read that line on Sarkhan, and he attacked me with 6 fairies and board wiped himself. So that's a pretty disgusting line, honestly. Downticks for a dragon, and most relevant effect I think is the +1 in the Planeswalker deck. So we are expecting to have at least 2 Planeswalkers on the battlefield, right? A Narset and a Chandra are like mostly what we have on the battlefield, and if we jam this on turn 5, then we can already push 8 damage pretty freely. Also, we can downtick for a dragon, right? And then we can stabilize the board, because a 4/4 flying is no joke. And see what we can do from there. Commit as a 1-off alongside with Narset. I saw this tech a lot. Like, a lot of people play this tech. So the commit alongside Memory Lapse is insanely disgusting, because like, people are forced to draw the cards when you want them to draw them. So that's kind of a really nasty control variant, where you don't only answer the cards that they have in hand, but you also know what they're gonna draw. Narset prevents opponents from drawing more than 1 card each turn. And the memory side of this card is a draw 7. So each player shuffles their hand and their graveyard into the library, which is also great against Arcanist decks, right? Or against any deck that has graveyard synergies, because they get to shuffle their graveyard back into the library and they start from scratch again. You're gonna have 7 fresh cards in your hand when you have a Narset out. So even if you only have the commit side and you don't get to cast the memory side, this is already pretty solid. So we're not playing We're not playing more than 1 copy. I think that's fine. Usually you go through at least half of your deck with this deck anyways, so you're gonna be able to find this spell if you need it. Usually, like, look at like Narset and Brainstorm, Behold, like, you're digging so deep. Like, also with the Search for a counter, if you activate it, that's always like 3 or 4 cards that you get to see, and you take the best or like the most suitable card for whatever you need in the specific situation. Playing 2 copies of Shark Typhoon, still super impressive. Oftentimes I really hardcast it in this deck. Sometimes you're forced to make a shark, which is obviously great enough, but to have an absolute bomb win condition that can overpower creature, like basically any creature deck, is absolutely insane. Mana base, let's take just a quick look. 2 Castle Ventress, a lot of basic, like we're playing 7 basic lands alongside 4 Fabled Passages, Pathways, Steam Vents, obviously no brain. We play 1 copy of Sulfur Falls. With all these basics and Steam Vents, we can pretty reliably turn this on. 2 Field of Ruins, I already talked about, I think. You're playing 24 lands alongside 3 Shatterskull Smashings, which makes it 27 lands. You can up this count. The Pro Tour winning decks, I think, or the GP winning decks usually include 1 more land than the other decks. So I am really trying to go by that rule and include as much lands as possible in my decks to really just make sure that you hit the land drops, because like most powerful deck doesn't do anything if you miss land drops, and especially in a deck like this. If you make a land drop every turn, you have pretty good chances because you have so many ways to, you know, do something about it, right? So even if you're down to 1 life and you have 6 or 7 lands in play, you can really start like, okay, so I need to dig for just Anger of Gods and I have a chance to stabilize. You have an Arcetos, you doubting on an Arcet, you Behold the Multiverse, you Brainstorm, then you fetch away a land. So you really have the chance to find the spell you need, and for that you just need mana. And so the more mana the better. Like I don't know what to cut honestly anymore. So maybe I would go up to 28 lands even, but for now it should be okay. Let's cover the sideboard real quick. One thing I want to mention is that I hate this configuration, like this best of 1 sideboard and best of 3 sideboard. Sorry for the hate, but it's like, it's so chaotic, kinda. We play 3 copies of Grafdigger's Cage, which is still awesome against goblins, still awesome against any sort of graveyard shenanigans, especially also against Phoenix decks, which are flying around really literally. And 1 Test of Talents, which is a new card from Strixhaven that I'm pretty excited to play. It's sometimes even better than a Negate. Counter a Neoform with this, and you're gonna have a great day, because like they can't combo off anymore. It's like, I think this is the only combo piece they have. 1 more copy of a Braid, Chandra Torch Defiance, 2 copies of this one to deal with all the opposing counter magic that is running around. 2 copies of Magma Spray against Phoenix specifically. Also against mono black aggro, this can be pretty strong. Ether Gust, obviously against all the Gruul shenanigans. Against many other things, like Ether Gust is very versatile. You have to be really heads up sometimes to play it, but you can do pretty crazy stuff with an Ether Gust. I would not say that I'm able to pull this off all the time, but I've seen people do crazy things with an Ether Gust. And if you're heads up, then this card is like, has a high skill ceiling, it seems. 2 copies of Negate against a lot of shenanigans. Bolas' Citadel Storm against Planeswalkers, man. Negate hits a lot of things. Mystical Dispute, obviously against blue decks and decks where you need counter magic, control mirrors. Especially Entrancing Melody, we will see if we still need this, or maybe we up the count of Mystical Dispute for the mirror-ish matches. But Entrancing Melody is against the Orzhov Auras deck specifically. So we will see how many times we face this matchup still, but Entrancing Melody could be a cut. So we will see if we need it. Storm's Wrath, obviously another sweeper effect. Keep in mind that this also hits your Planeswalkers. So I am careful with this card. This is why I only have a 1-off. We are not playing white, so we don't have Wrath of God. We have to try to deal with creatures in a little bit of a different style. And so Storm's Wrath, you have to be careful with it. If you play against a real creature matchup, for example, like green-white mid-range, the Storm's Wrath can be pretty important. Also against elves, for example, all your nice value-generating planeswalkers are maybe a little bit too slow. Okay, so just before we start with the gameplay, just one more thing. I want to remind you friendly that I'm doing a giveaway special at 100 subs, which is hopefully going to be soon. I think we are at 97 or 98 subscribers now. I want to say thank you guys, and for that I'm going to make a giveaway lottery. I have a pre-release kit and a German Time Spiral booster and an English Double Masters booster. I think the pre-release kit is also in German, but I'm not sure. They were gifted to me generously by Gamers Finest, which is my LGS. Pretty cool. Thanks for the support, guys. Awesome game store. Yeah, so I will keep you updated. So in the next video I'm going to do, which is probably going to be by the end of this week, I'm going to hand out some news on how to participate on the giveaway special. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Have fun with the gameplay. Alright, let's give it a spin. Okay, so I like the hand. I'm not sure what's going on with Lutri. Some sort of storm, I presume. Okay, so let's lead on this island. This activates the Sulfur Force and also the Castle Ventress. We can decide whether or not we want to brainstorm. I think we want to brainstorm. Okay, opponent's very slow. That benefits us in a way because like if they have expensive spells, we have counter magic to go with it. Narset and Sarkhan can go back on top. That will be protected from discard spells, and like we cannot really do any cool shenanigans with brainstorm, not right now. So it was just basically brainstorm was just draw a card. This can also happen, right? Do we play the Field of Ruin first? I think it's just better to play the Sulfur Force because of the Abrade. And then pass him back. They brainstorm. Alright. I think we are brainstorming one more time. Like, is it really worth to save the brainstorm for later turns? Or are we just drawing a card here? I think we're just drawing a card, man. I don't know. Ionize seems great, so let's put back... Wait, so now we can put back one card that we can shuffle away with the field. Or we gem Narset next turn. Let's maybe do that. Oh, damn, what am I doing? I could have abraded the Cold Steel Heart. So we might want to do that next turn. A bit of a bad play here by me. It was not really heads up. Kind of blundered there. Abrading that would have been way, way, way better. Just saying. Yeah, that sets us back, man. That was... Huh. What can they land? Like 4 mana is maybe an important turn. Obviously, I don't know what I'm facing. Maybe Citadel Storm? That would mean it's not a scary turn and it can just really jam the Narset. But that doesn't leave me hold up Ionize again. So I think I'm just playing Field of Ruin, passing the turn. So that way we can destroy the Zagoth Triome. Oh, they don't do anything? Tainted Pact? Okay, so they just win the game here, right? Am I countering Tainted Pact or am I countering... Why are they holding this up, man? Yeah, okay, so we are countering this. So this doesn't win him the game on the spot. Like, they... If they have to counter my Ionize here... Cycling Sensor, okay, so that's pretty great, right? So now they need a way to recast that. Because they play only... Yeah, sure. You just counter one Tainted Pact and they give up because they only have one in their deck. Like, what are the odds that they have it in their hand? Honestly, anyway. Test of Talents? I'm not sure. I think Negate's better than, and then Anger of Gods doesn't seem particularly good for obvious reasons. Mystical Dispute, why not? Like, I think this suit is fine. We could bring in more Abrades just for Cold Steel. Like, no, they just play one Cold Steel Heart. What am I talking about? That's a cool matchup. I think we're pretty favored somehow. Because you have counter magic. Like, this deck is really... I think now they have all the discard and counter magic. I think this is what they should board, right? Pretty obviously. Counter magic and discard spells are going to hit us, presumably. Alright, so... Yeah, hand is great. We have a negate, so let's keep it. Okay. Do we need a smashing or can we just... Does our life total matter at all? Like, is it just they play Tutors and Tainted Pact, right? For a deck like us, we shouldn't be in all too bad shape against this anyway. Like, maybe even one negate is enough to beat that. But we wanna jam Narset as soon as possible, I think. Problem is we have to negate the Tainted Pact, and because we can't negate the Thassa's Oracle or whatever they have to combo. So just, wait, I'm gonna play this end. So really quick, if you don't know what's up, Tainted Pact is a card that lets you reveal cards from top of a library until you find one with the same name. And you play only one-offs in your deck, so you don't have any card that is twice, right? No duplicates. That's why also, of course, you run the Lutri. This could have been a nice read a little bit earlier, but now I got it, right? So be patient with the old Nixon. They draw their whole deck. I don't know what happens with the cards. Like, they draw their whole deck. Basically, they don't have a library when they cast Tainted Pact, and then they play Jace the Planeswalker or Thassa's Oracle, and they win the game. I think that's the strategy. Oh, it would have been so nice to negate that, but we cannot do anything about this. We are just going to play a blue source and then pass the turn. We can't even play the Narset next turn, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I am excited what I can see. Like, I'm excited about this deck. I've never played against it, and it seems to be a new strategy. Obviously, without any counter magic, it's a pretty easy win and can be pretty easy free wins. But against a deck like us, I think they have a pretty rough time. So that seems like a counterspell. Okay. I think it's a Narset, man, honestly. Because, like, even if they hit a Tainted Pact next turn, we have a lot of chances to find a counterspell for whatever their win condition is, right? Laboratory Maniac is not in the format. Right, see, that's great. I mean, Memory Lapse doesn't do a lot, I suppose. Buys us a turn, though. So next turn we could hold up Memory Lapse plus Negate. I think I'd rather take the Ionize, honestly. Feels a little bit safer. Because, yeah, Memory Lapse in this case is like, alright, so they have 0 cards in library, you counter their Thassa's Oracle, and it's really common again next turn, so. Maelstrom Pulse my Narset, which is very okay, right? It kinda symbolizes or kinda telegraphs that they maybe have a card draw spell here, so they really prioritize getting rid of the Narset. Although you always have to get rid of her. And this is why she's so good, look at that. We jam her, we get a card, get an Ionas in our hand, and now they use a card to get rid of it. So we are already up in card advantage game, and that's so sweet. I will play a Mountain and pass the turn. So now we're holding up Ionize, Negate, and also if we don't have to do anything, we can just behold the Multiverse and get more counter magic into our hands. We also have the Field of Ruin already for the Search for counter that's gonna flip eventually. So we are honestly in pretty good shape. We could behold here, and I think we just do it. Like, whatever they do to win the game, it's not gonna be at end of turn. They can also counter this pretty freely. Okay, Solemnity Vision. That's a Tainted Pact. Tainted Pact is an instant, are you serious? Wow, what the fuck? I thought it's a sorcery. This makes this deck pretty scary. Okay, so I want to say this again. Like, I don't think we have a bad matchup against this. So, luckily, you don't have to see all this, because this is gonna take at least 5 minutes. Well, they went for Thassa's Oracle. Okay, so it was not 5 minutes, because they stopped as they had Thassa's Oracle. But now what do they do? Like, the rest of the 39 cards, how do they... Do they recast the Tainted Pact somehow? By the way, the cards get exiled, so we get a nice clean look what's going on. Thought Distortion is a good card against our deck. That being said, I'm not sure what's going on, because now they have a Thassa's Oracle in hand. That is not all that useful without recasting this Tainted Pact somehow. And they don't play red, so I have no idea how they get this back. Maybe they have to regrowth it or something. We will see. Guess Castle Ventress makes sense. And we are not playing a Planeswalker here because I'm a little bit too scared to run that out. Maybe a Braid can go for now. Maybe this is extra turn. Like, maybe the Foretell is not that easy to guess. It's a Time Warp. Yeah, we can just Memory Lapse that. I think that's a pretty easy Memory Lapse. Maybe we Brainstorm first also. Ah, nice, a Fabled Passage. We can get rid of the Shatterskull Smashing, and also maybe the island at this point. And then we draw the island. Yeah, that seems fine. We draw the island, we get rid of the Shatterskull Smashing because I don't think we need it in this matchup. And then we just Memory Lapse that Time Warp. So they're going to draw that next turn. And now, wow, look at Memory Lapse, like, it's so sick. Like, spent their whole turn doing basically nothing, drawing the next turn, draw the same card again. They have 4 cards in the graveyard, so they're still a little bit away from flipping this counter. That's why I don't play the Field of Ruin now. Just going for Fabled Passage, pass turn, I guess. The Time Warping again. So, I'm not even sure if I have to counter this Time Warp. Like, it does really nothing, right? It does nothing. It doesn't win him the game, I'm not sure. Should I really even counter this? If I Memory Lapse it, like, I can't even scry. Like, if I could scry, I think I would counter it, but I don't even see the necessity of doing that. Honestly. Growth Spiral goes in the graveyard and they cannot flip this counter this turn, so we have to play... Okay, Inquisition of Kozilek. I think I'm going to Memory Lapse that one. Yeah, let's Memory Lapse it. Okay, they take the Lutri in the hand, but look how bad that was. Like, the people are complaining so much about Time Warp, and yes, it's a powerful card, but you really have to set it up. In this case, it really did nothing. Like, they didn't even play an extra land. It was just nothing. They cycled it, man, more or less. But it had no impact, no actual impact on this game. Besides putting 1 card in the graveyard. But I don't think that's... And you can argue that that's powerful, but I'm not really sure. Okay, more red, more blue. I think more blue, maybe. Chandra Torch of Defiance. At some point I would like to start playing some Planeswalkers. Yeah, but maybe I should have fetched for another red. Did I do that? I don't think I did that. And now it comes back to bite us because the Chandra does not let us hold up the Ionize. Maybe negate is enough though. They're going to cast Inquisition of Kozilek anyway, right? Then we are going to negate that, probably. Oh wait, you know what I can do? Oh no, I maybe should not Field of Ruin something now, as the Escanta flips next turn. Maybe they are not going to cast Inquisition. It kind of sucks. Let's be real. Narset, should we just cast that? Yeah, look, I'm casting that Narset. They're not going to kill us next turn. I don't think they can. Brainstorm, Commit Memory seems pretty good, so let's take that. And if they want to flip the Escanta, they have to put the Inquisition into the graveyard. So they have one turn to pop off. They have 5 lands, 6 sources, maybe a 7th to really pop off. Like, if they can kill me this turn, I'm excited. Like, I have no idea how they do it because it's in the graveyard. Like, they have to put it in hand, then cast it again, and also cast Thassa's Oracle in the same turn. So that's challenging. I know. Maybe they can do it. Binding the Old Gods on Chandra. Ooh, on the Narset. Like, look at this respect, man. That's sick. Okay, what I'm doing here is like I want to call up so much mana, like as much as possible. So we're just going to uptick here in Field of Ruin this Escanta now. And they can't play a lot of basics. Maybe they should have more basics. I know okay, we need red. I know how the clause is on Tainted Pact. They did have a forest, but like they can just have 3 basic lands. So we are playing our own Surge now. Holding up everything and like I'm pretty sure we got the win here. Bloodshe's Thirst. Do you really even care about this? It's sad and all, but I think I'm just gonna let that resolve. We don't really need the Chandra. Could scry though. Why not? Yeah. They have 2 mana left, so what are they gonna do? Let's get rid of these. Memory Lapse. Yeah, we'll keep that. Transform the Escanta, and now we have so much counter magic. Can we play the Sarkhan? Lets us hold up. Yeah, I think it lets us hold up enough. And we make a dragon. It's like we have negate plus memory lapse. I think like this should be good enough to fight through basically everything or anything. Okay. Yeah, I could counter that, but I'm not doing it. The sorcery, like, sure, maybe there's some incentive to just memory lapse it or counter it or something. But now they have the Tainted Pact, and they can. But on the other hand, like, let them cast the Tainted Pact, they exile their whole library, and then I just have to counter the Thassa's Oracle, right? Because they can also, I see. They can Tainted Pact and then double the Tainted Pact also. They cannot though. They can now double Tainted Pact. The only thing I have to counter is the Thassa's Oracle, if I'm not mistaken. So I think I'm just going for it. Like, it seems kind of crazy, but I don't think they can really do anything about this. Let's push for 8, that is. My hand is so stacked and packed with counter spells, so means I'm just going to. I have 4 counter spells. Can I cast all of them? That's 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I can't cast all of them. Should be enough though, man. I don't know. I'm not countering this Tainted Pact. Could be a mistake, but I just think I can win the counter war. Like they exile their whole library, but I think I can win the counter war against to get rid of this Thassa's Oracle, and then they are milled, which is even more fun. So fast forward until they milled their library. Okay, so they stopped at 4. They did not want to go all in on this. as it seems. I don't know what's up. We will see. They're casting Thassa's Oracle now. Devotion is 2, so... Am I missing something, or are they just... Ah, they want to flash in the loot tree. They can probably double counterspell here. Okay, so let's ionize that. Okay, let's see. We just ionize that Thassa's Oracle, and then... Because they want to flash in the loot tree, gives them more devotion. Okay, so I see that. But what else is going to happen? Okay, this has to ETB, so they saw it coming, the ionize. We will negate that. And then we will memory lapse the loot tree. And that way we still can, we could still brainstorm, like if they have another counterspell now, we can still brainstorm into another memory lapse maybe? They brainstorm, okay, I think we have it now. Draw the whole deck. But you just have one spell, one mana up on this stack here. Okay, so memory lapse. The loot tree, they're gonna draw that. Ionize comes down on a Thassa's Oracle. And that's the game. GG, okay, so nice that we had enough counter magic. Just enough also to beat the strategy. It's a cool deck, it's an exciting deck. I kinda like the idea of only one-offs. Okay, so welcome to round number 2. This is Rim, and we are on the play. We're going first, we are a little bit short on mana, so don't have double blue guaranteed for the Narset. I think I'm going to Mull. Like this deck mulligans are actually pretty good, right? Like we have so much card advantage going on, it should be fine. I think I'm going to get rid of the Field of Ruin, although it's a pretty sweet synergy with the Brainstorm, but it's also kind of slow, and also we have double red and double blue, so... Oh no, that's not true. Yeah, but still. Let's still do it like this, and we are going to... Yeah, this is not optimal, right? Like, because the Castle Adventures comes into play tap 2. So let's go ahead and lead on this castle. I am a little bit happy to see a tapped land with Scry, which telegraphs a slow deck, which we should have a good matchup against. Let's go for another blue source for the Narset, that we can brainstorm, or double brainstorm even if you want to. Ah, Jeskai control, and they land the Search for Skanta first, so that's a bad sign. But we are landing the Narset next turn, so that's also okay. Let's put back the land and the smashing. We don't really need the smashing, so we will put that on the bottom. Although it's second red source, right? I don't think the 3 mana are really that important, so... Add 3 life. Pardon. We're gonna draw with the smashing. Could also brainstorm one more time, but I think it's a little bit wasteful to just see one more card here, and then we just go for Narset and get rid of this island. Hopefully we don't whiff, but it's really unlikely also for us to whiff, as our deck is only non-creature spells, and even 3 lands are non-creature spells, so... Ah, we're playing a real mirror match here, so this is not the Opus version as it seems. I'm a little bit sad that I got rid of my Field of Ruin, as I've seen this Iskanta here, but it's okay, I guess. Let's go. Another Narset, a Brainstorm, and a Sarkhan. We have 2 Chandras. I think I'm leaning towards the Brainstorm, honestly. Although another Narset, spells here, just have a memory lapse. So we are obviously not shocking this in, we're just passing. We are just passing the turn. Maybe we can find the Field of Ruin. That's actually what I'm looking for right now more than anything else. Oof. Okay, so let's brainstorm first. Like, we will counter that, but maybe we can... Let's put 1 Chandra back. And the Anger. This doesn't really matter. And then we're gonna memory lapse that. So next turn they are drawing nothing but a Narset. Which is not nothing, honestly, right? But... it's fine, I guess. It's fine. They can downtick. I think... we need counter magic. And also a way to get rid of this Anger, man. The best thing I can do is play Chandra. Uptick to get rid of the Anger. Yeah, seems okay. So that way I can play a fresh Brainstorm. Plus, if they discard a huge card on this Narset, I can then play a Sarkhan to kill the Narset. Leaves me with one Planeswalker in play and also a Nars and also the Sarkhan. Like I have 2 Planeswalkers in play basically, and they don't have any Planeswalkers in play. So I presume they decide to do that. Yeah. So they have to they really have to discard an expensive spell here to get rid of this. How could they even draw a card? They couldn't, right? The Narset is so insane. Like our Narset. Let's brainstorm. Okay, Memory Lab seems sweet. Anger of the God goes to the bottom, and also... Yeah, I don't want to leave this Narset in play, I guess. So maybe we just want to jam the... Sarkhan. In this case, we are putting the Chandra back on top, so we draw that next turn. Yeah, I really want to get rid of this Planeswalker. I think we should just get rid of this Planeswalker. If they just do it again... I mean, if they just do it again, how bad is it? Like, we could really just play Chandra also and hold up Memory Lapse. That way we get really rid of the second Anger of God, which is pretty unlucky that we draw it, but... Like, they go down on card advantage. They're so far away from flipping this Azcanta, which I ask myself, how? But I think it's okay. I think that's just okay, so we exile that. Okay. Let's see what they have. Scorching Dragon Fire, my Narset. I dislike it. But they already spent their Narset tick up. We have another Narset. I think we're gonna let this happen. Our land would have been pretty sweet, but now we can just uptake the Chandra like this, make some mana, and then we play Sarkhan. Holding up Memory Lapse. Hopefully the Narset dies. We take up here, because you want to kill. Kill their Planeswalker. Seems like a good idea. Sphinx's Wrath. For 2. I don't think there is any reason to Memory Lapse that. On the other hand, it kind of makes sense, like... If that's what they draw next turn, then I'm prepared and I know what's up, so I think I'm going to Memory Lapse it. Although it's not, like, so necessary here. So if they have a land drop... They didn't even have a land drop, so... We're going to play Narset, and that forces them... It really forces them into casting the spell for all the mana they have. Draw 3. And just scoop. Okay. Yeah, that was a big Planeswalker suit. Nice that the Superfriends deck got to really show off in this game. So how counter magic heavy are they? I'm not even sure. I think they're gonna bring in some counter magic at least, right? And how necessary is the Chandra going to be? I think Ral, like if they don't have any creatures really, maybe the Chandra is better, right? So we cut one Chandra and one Ral. For the big Chandra, maybe? Seems okay. Also, Mystical Dispute is also important, I think. And Dear Braid can go, right? And then we have one more Planeswalker to include. Do we want Ral or do we want Chandra? I think Ral is better. Because if we uptick, then we can get instant sorceries, right? If we uptick on the Chandra for the card advantage, it's threatening, right? If you put this down earlier, it's nice. And this is the more expensive spell. But if we resolve it, we can also put counter magic into our hand, and I think that's pretty important in this matchup. I think this matchup is really based on permission, like how many good spells are you able to keep from resolving, and how many spells are you going to resolve. Opponent goes first. This hand is, yeah, I might say it's pretty slow. I mean, we go fail passage turn 1. Or like we're turn 2 mana. I think it's okay, really. Could be sketchy, but it's like I'm getting greedy on all this. Nice. Okay, our land is very good. Also a pretty good one against Search for Azcanta, which is maybe going to land here. Oh, that's good. So they don't have a turn 2 play. And suddenly we are not scared of anything anymore. Great. That's great. Having the negate up here. Can brainstorm end of turn if you so desire. Like we don't even have to brainstorm here. I mean, why should we, right? Like we have everything we want. We just make land drops and chill, honestly. Let's hit some land drops. Pass. Cards that draw cards at the end of turn are pretty key in this matchup. Like we don't. Yeah, I think I still don't have to do anything. I'm playing the Field of Ruin, and now I can start maybe brainstorming because I can get rid of lands now. Put more counter magic in hand. So if they've had here, for example, Behold the Multiverse, I don't know if they play it. Teferi, they shock in and they don't do anything. That's a little bit concerning. We are going to brainstorm. And the negate seems so sweet. Yeah, sure. Maybe Sarkhan at this point. Like we don't really need a Sarkhan right now. Is that crazy? It's a lot of lands. We are searching a red source, so we get rid of those two, honestly. I mean, the smashing is good later in the game, but it's not really necessary also. As we hopefully can counter all their stuff. So let's shuffle these away. Steam Vents or Hell of Fountain. I guess keeping off of double red makes a lot of sense to me. Hopefully they cannot counter this activated ability. If they have Whirlwind Denial, oh shit, that would be crazy. Oh, now they have 6 mana also. So that's something to look out for. So the Field of Ruin ramps them. But if they just play Torrential Gearhulk, I think... Okay, so nothing happens. Nothing happens there. We have 2 negates and a Narset. Should we fight about this Narset with some negates? More blue. We could play Narset and have 1 negate up, but... Could just play a Narset. Like, they will try to counter it, and then we counter the counter spell probably. If they then play Teferi, tuck the Narset... that's a little bit problematic. I think if they want to... they don't even want to counter the Narset. Yeah, that's insane for us, man. Yeah, Chandra's good and all, but I think Search for his counter overall makes more sense. I'm not going to cast it though. Maybe that's a Shark Typhoon. Maybe they have Shark Typhoon to fight the Narset. I see. Yeah, Shark Typhoon, that's not bad, right? Because they also get to draw a card, so we're pretty even here, but they have a 3/3 in play, so... Brainstorm. Let's play Search for his counter. Oh, we took quite some time to think about all these decisions. Like, these decks are pretty complicated. So maybe I just only showed 2 of them now. Okay, I want this Search for his counter to resolve, so I'm willing to give up 1 negate here. That's great. So they don't seem to have another negate, because maybe they would have thought about this then. Alright, okay, so they're still deciding whether or not they wanna commit a second negate. They don't, so that's also okay. Yeah, maybe I just show... What? A Lightning Helix face? Are you kidding me? I love to see it, man. I mean, are they... How hard... Do they have so much pressure? I hope not. Maybe they're like, okay, I can't win the long game, so I have to pressure them. Might not be a bad idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if they play Magma Opus or something like that, I think it's still okay to just brainstorm here. Memory Lapse is awesome. Shark Typhoon is awesome. Yeah, maybe the Sarkhan is really, right now, not what we need. I can put the Sarkhan into my graveyard and draw Steam Vents. So we put Sarkhan on top, the Steam Vents on the bottom. Then we put the Sarkhan in the bin. Transform the Search. Steam Vents. And from this point, we should be looking pretty good. Could even try to resolve the Shark Typhoon. Oh. That's greedy. I think it's just greedy. Like, I think we just have to play it out patiently and we win this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have to cycle it for 5. We still have Ionize up. Ooh, the spell can't be countered. They make a 5/5. It's pretty scary. Commence the end game. That's a card to look out for. Maybe I want this. Maybe I want 1 copy of this in the sideboard too. Ooh, okay. Maybe I should have jammed the Shark Typhoon. But also, you know. Could just make a 4/4 here. That way I still get to hold up an either negate or memory lapse. Just hope that it's enough. Oh, also dispute. That's nice. They don't seem to have anything on instant base. Dream Trawler. Oh, please not. Okay, so I have one shot. Like, I think I have to counter that. Like, otherwise I'm looking pretty bad. Oof. But it didn't seem to have any sort of counter magic really. Like, I don't know. If it's... Okay, so I'm going to play Mystical Dispute because if it's Sensor they have... Nice. Okay, so countering this is so huge, man. Ooh, my gosh. Like, wow. What a scary things here are going down. I think we have to commit this 5/5. I just want to commit it, man. And then we have a 4/4. So now we're in driver's seat, kinda. We have a lot of counter magic up. If they are not able to pull something off, Hero of Dominaria, we will try to, you know, just memory lapse, right? We could have negated, like maybe we should have negated it also. Would have been pretty good, honestly, I think. Narset, awesome. That's so great. We could just go ahead and memory. Should we do that? Okay. Got the W in. Yeah, as these games are pretty long, I think I'm gonna call it here, right? Because like otherwise the video gets too long. Let me check. So yeah, sure, let's call it for today. It was a lot of fun, like it was pretty successful. A pretty successful run also. Like keep in mind also like we're playing on Diamond. So we will have to see how the deck performs in Mythic ranks. When I can push forward and reach Mythic, we're gonna see how it performs there. But so far, the impression it makes is great. So I want to say one thing. I want to say like I'm not the only one that found it out, but and it's also pretty obvious. So I can't be too proud of it in anyways. But memory lapse in rogues. Have you checked that interaction? That's sick. You memory lapse them and then you mill the top cards away with the Soaring Thought Thief. So this is 2 mana hard counter. So this is even better than a counter spell, like the normal counter spell in this deck, because it's not even double blue. So I played it yesterday. I found it out by like randomly. I didn't think of the interaction before. I have to admit that, but like I thought the card is good. Why not slot it in a rogue deck with alongside Inquisition of Kozilek? So this deck is very strong. Let me know if you want the list of it. It's like it's pretty straightforward. Like you can see it here. So I don't think I have to post the list or anything, but that's something to look out for. I think this list is gonna be like maybe not this list exactly, but a rogue list with memory lapse is going to be pretty high tier. Could be, presumably. We will see about that. For now, thanks a lot for watching and have a good day. Goodbye. See you around.